There we go.
I don't know what happened. I could hear you. You couldn't hear me, and I couldn't get on I was trying to request, and
Sorry, but it's probably my bad. My bad. I had to update it. So I see. So one thing. So I was at Square One today's parking lot, going into my car, and Shohab from Scooty, the scooter company.
oh, yes.
Yeah. So he said,
Yes.
shout out, and he said I could not get Mayor Crombie off the scooter.
I had so much fun. Oh my goodness, I can't wait. So we haven't actually had the discussion at council, but that would solve a lot of first mile, last mile problems. I like the
True.
scooter. We had fun. He's right. Shoaib couldn't get off the scooter. I was going around the block and around Celebration Square and waving
Yeah.
at people. People are like, "Is that the mayor?"
Is
The mayor?
that-
Too much fun. Were you at Square One yesterday? What? No, but that was Monday. Sunday.
I was not, but I saw you were.
I was at the food trucks. You know what? We've got to promote this night market TO. I told them they have to call it Night Market Mississauga, though. Night market program. They had amazing food trucks, all of our favorites. Like, they had every culture represented. It was fantastic, the variety and the selection.
Yeah. And it was packed. I saw the line.
It was packed. It was
Yeah.
packed. They had huge lineups to get in, and oh my God, everything looked so delicious. I was on my way home to cook dinner for my family, but I really just wanted to sample from every single truck.
Yeah, and that's what they
So
had for
Night
dinner.
Market TO, it was fantastic. So
And my
we're
boy,
going to
my
call
boy,
it Night. I bet he would have loved it. We're going to call it Night Market Mississauga.
exactly. We'll get that next. But no, my boy Rick's Good Eats had a truck there. So
Yes, Rick's Good Eats
okay.
had one. I think that's Bar Catalina, right? The new one in Port Credit.
Yeah, there was Bars Catalina. That was Chef Umberto Sanchez, and then Rick's Good
Umberto. Yes.
Rick. Right. So there's been Anyway, so it sounded like a great event. So
It
but
was fantastic. Yes. Okay.
so quickly. So I went to Ottawa. When are we gonna get the scooters?
I know.
Okay, so in Ottawa, they actually allowed people, they had 1,000 scooters laying around in Ottawa. You need an app, you just scan the app in and you can start using it. When are
So
we going to have that?
I've done this before. So used to have bikes everywhere. Remember those bike share programs as well. And there was a bit of bike litter, I will admit. And then the following year, this is one place I like to go on holiday, we had the scooters. And then you had the scooter litter. So you really need that docking station. And of course, they
Yeah,
come back in the evenings and they pick them all up so that they can be charged overnight again. So they're ready to go in the morning. So it
sure,
is fantastic. You just, as you said, you download the app, you purchase some time on the app, and you go to it. And it's great. But
sure.
then we need some place for them to designate it to just dock too, because it does
Yeah, I
create some
agree.
litter. Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Yeah,
It's a
I saw
great program, though.
that. So, okay, so let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. So,
Indeed.
all right, so the earliest step 3 can expire is next week. When do you think everything will fully open?
I don't know, but I don't think it will be next week. I will share that we've had a little bump in the numbers because 2 weeks ago we were single digits and now we're double digits again. And let me be very clear that this is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated because the vaccines do work and they're keeping people out of the hospitals and out of ICU. But there's still 20% of the population that haven't received their first dose. And largely, the people who are getting COVID now are unvaccinated. And there is a small percentage of people who have gotten COVID being vaccinated. But as you and I know, because it only protects you 90 to 95%. So there's small
Yeah,
opportunity. But your symptoms are far less severe. You won't require hospitalizations or ICU or any of that. So we encourage you, please, please go out and get vaccinated. Now, we also, I should report that we are winding down the mass vaccination centers. So we know that last Sunday, a week ago, International Center closed and then the UTM clinic closed the day after that. So we are starting to wind them down gradually, but we are using a much more targeted approach to really reach deep into those communities where we think that 20% is and bring pop-up clinics to them. whether they're in apartment buildings or cultural centers or places of religious organization. We are taking clinics out to people, and we don't hesitate to knock on doors and bring people out to get vaccinated. We're going to seniors who are homebound to get them vaccinated. And then we're also building up the pharmacy program and the primary caregiver program, because a lot of people, and you and I've discussed this before, feel more comfortable going to their doctor's office and having the discussion with the doctor saying, well, what do you think I should do? Which vaccine should I get, etc. And so we need to enhance those programs. But we do have pop-up clinics. I did print up the notes. We did have that coast to coast challenge. And although I never heard who won. Never heard who won. I hope it was us.
Let's just say we won.
Of course we won. Right, and we've got Vax to School program, so that really gives 12 to 17-year-olds front of the line service, right? So that's great. Oh, here, I'm going to list off some of the pop-up clinics. And the best way to find out all the information about the pop-ups is to go to peelregion.ca/COVID-19 vaccine and look for the little drop down that says pop-up clinic. But some of those
are these pop-ups in Peel, Mississauga, or Brampton? Or
yeah, I'm going to read them to you. So Sheridan College, Davis campus, that one's Brampton. Applewood Heights Secondary School, that one's the 24th and 25th coming up. Okay. Morningstar Middle School in Malton, there'll be one on the 27th. David Suzuki in Brampton. Judith Nyman, that one's in Brampton. Fletcher's Meadow, also Brampton. Applewood Heights again, mid-August, 14th and 15th. That's in here. Ascension, that's in Malton again. And that one is the 21st and 22nd. And then, of course, anyone can go to 10 Peel Center Drive. That's the Vax to School clinic as well. So it gives, you kind of put front of the line service to youth 12 to 17, because we know how much they want to get back to school. So those are the pop-ups that are coming that I'm aware of. Most of those that I've listed are in schools, which is fine, but there will be others that, like we had the Mac Mosque, right? And we had the Ismaili Jamaat, and the Gurdwaras have offered them as well. So, and the mosque up in Malton. So there will be cultural facilities that will, and of course, I want to say the Coptic Center has had 2 pop-up clinics. So they've done a fantastic service for the community as well. So there'll be more of that. And we're going to reach into those neighborhoods like the Bloor Dixies, right? Like the, like Malton, etc., where the vaccine rate was a little bit lower, and reach into them.
And have they opened yet?
Too. I should mention Cooksville, not to. So these are pop-ups, right?
Yeah. So have they opened already?
So the first one that I listed,
we can go
Embassy
online.
Grand, Embassy Grand was May 17th ongoing. Sheridan College was July 17th to 29. Applewood Heights was the 24th and the 25th of July. They have specific dates and times, so best to go online. Best to go online. Yeah. But I'm very pleased. Like, we're over 80% first dose and over 60% second dose. So it's really reaching out into the community to find that last 20%, right? I'm pretty excited about that. And we know that if we're over 60% second dose, we'll get to 80, but can we get to 90? That's what we really want to get to 90. I'd love to get 100, but I'm going to concede that we may not get to 100, but let's get to 90.
Utah got a second vaccine. I didn't realize how smooth the transition was from the Paramount Fine Food Center, right? Literally booked it, boom, next day he was there, and now he's double back. He's fully back.
Thousands and thousands of appointments available. I remember when I booked my second appointment, because I had to get my mom in too, I had to call 60 times. I just kept hitting redial. But now it's so easy, and there's so many appointments available, and there's so much vaccine available now, as we heard from the Prime Minister. I don't know, 60 million doses or something. So there's a lot of vaccine available. There are appointments available. There really is no excuse for anybody not to go get vaccinated. If you have any questions, there are doctors on site to answer your questions, or please call your doctor, your personal doctor, your primary care provider, and speak to them about, if it's right for you. And I'm sure they'll encourage you to get a vaccine. Mm-hmm.
I think those people are listening to Facebook MD. But anyways, so let's talk about the masking bylaw. Do you think people will be unmasked by September?
So we're watching that very closely too, and you know that Alberta is unmasked, and
Yeah.
that gave me a lot of angst to see that at the Calgary Stampede, people were unmasked, I have to tell you, in such large groups. I'm still not comfortable not wearing a mask when I'm with, you know, a lot of people. But we're watching Dr. Theresa Tam very closely because she's now saying in small groups, you know, if your friends, if everyone's vaccinated, it's okay. So, you know, we will get there at some point. I'm not comfortable yet, personally, going into a large crowd without my mask. And that's for everyone else's protection, right? Not mine. When you wear your mask, it protects me from you, right? So I prefer if everyone kept their mask on for a little while longer. Until we get the direction that it's okay. And, you know, maybe we'll get that when we're 90% vaxxed. And maybe if that's any encouragement to that last 10 or 20% to go out and get vaccinated. You could be the reason we can't remove our masks yet. So please go get vaccinated.
Awesome. Last week, InSaga did a poll that asked if whether they supported vaccine passports. A whopping 2,200 people voted, and 70% were in favor of a vaccine passport.
Mm-hmm. That's what I thought. And, you know, I think more and more we should move away from that terminology about a passport, right? Because certainly, you know, if you're traveling, you will be asked because you will have to show it on your ArriveCan app, whether you've been vaxxed or not. And I mean, it's your personal choice. No one's mandating vaccine. No one is mandating. However, if you're not vaccinated, you will have to quarantine. That's the difference. If you're vaccinated, you won't after your test comes back negative. But if you're not vaccinated, you will still have to quarantine. So they want to be able to see if you've been vaccinated or not. So I like to put it in terms of, you know, those little yellow cards we used to get as kids, your immunization records. Oh, sorry, I don't know what happened. Measles, mumps, rubella, smallpox, chickenpox, polio, etc. Right? And it all shows those dates. And when we travel to certain countries, for instance, they may ask for, you know, different vaccines like typhoid or typhus or malaria pills or whatever. They may ask that you have, and you have to prove in certain countries that you've had your MMR vaccine, right, to travel. So I think you will see that we may have to prove that we are vaccinated when traveling. Certainly you will, and you will be judged whether or not you need to quarantine based on that. So let's put it in the perspective of an immunization record. You know, why just not add it to the record that we are already given for having MMR and everything else, polio, smallpox, chickenpox, etc. Put it on that, and then we can just show it, or on the DriveCan app, because you can't mandate it. I understand you cannot mandate that people be vaccinated. We're encouraging you to, because we want life to get back to normal. But there's some people will choose not to, and others cannot for medical reasons that their doctors will advise them. So we don't want to discriminate against everyone, but you have to accept that if you aren't vaccinated for whatever the reason, you will still have to quarantine, and you'll still have to protect yourself and others. Mm-hmm. So I like it positioned better as, you know, the immunization record.
Cool. Well, are businesses actually asking for this? Like, have you talked to?
Well, the MBOT is still consulting, but I saw today, I was watching the banner on CP24, and it did say that, you know, top restaurant in Toronto is segregating people, and if you're not vaccinated, you can only sit on the patio. There's only indoor dining for people who have been vaccinated. So, you know, I
patios are the prime seat. It's like you're punishing people with the vaccine. Anyway, so,
well, what if it's a rainy day? Okay, I don't know.
Rainy day, yeah, get the
sure. Like today's been sort of on and off. But so there are businesses, there are organizations, there are institutions like schools that are asking. We saw Seneca College come out and say in classroom learning only for those who have been vaccinated. Otherwise, you'll have to be online. And that was not only students, it was for educators and staff as well. So there will be businesses, organizations, institutions that are asking, right?
True. We're going to switch gears a little bit. Okay. I know you sit on the police board. Peel Police Board, correct? What's the latest on the body-worn cameras on police officers?
Right. So we have a pilot underway right now at the airport.
Okay.
So where they are wearing them at the airport, and so we're able to, refine the kinks in the system until they're brought out more broadly and more widely. But we did unanimously accept them. We did do community consultation on them. I know I have personally, and the chief has done a number of consultation sessions as well, and it's been reported at the public sessions of the police board. I don't know why this is happening. There we go. Police board meetings, that this was what we had planned to do, and people could write in if they objected, but we received a lot of support for them. So they are being tested at the airport with the officers who are stationed there, and we will see them more broadly used in the coming months and year.
Okay, so I guess everybody in the police force will have it on within a couple of months, you said?
We haven't made that determination of how broadly and how quickly, because it's an expense as well, and of course they'll have to be trained. So whether it will be certain divisions first, or certain departments, or certain will 12 division get it first, or 11 versus investigative reporters or people out in the field, or officers out on the road. I think we are coming to terms with all. The chief has got to make that call, but we have adopted them, and they are coming, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I do. I think it'll provide evidence on site, what really happened, because there's always three sides to every story. So,
So, everybody's seen the video of the coyote attacking the girl, that small dog that was a hero that actually stepped up for the girl, and
just
anyway,
horrific. So we're doing a lot of education in the community about what and what not to do. And, largely we say we have seen increased sightings of coyotes. It's been in the news right across Toronto and GTA, not just Mississauga, but certainly it's the warm weather. It's people are feeding them. Oops. Sorry, I'm getting a dark screen every once in a while. People are feeding them. Do not feed these animals. It will just encourage them to come back, and it makes them bolder, frankly, when they find food. So if you have your organic or a compost heap in the back, that's not a good idea either. It does encourage them to come out. And what we also suggest, and they're doing a lot of education with resident groups, do not run away from one, because they're likely to chase you and nip at your ankles. So, you have to be very calm and be very, rational, and move deliberately and slowly when facing a coyote. And of course, the little dog was the hero, but, unfortunately, these animals have become very bold and quite aggressive. And it is a large problem in many neighborhoods, and in mine, that just north of me in Mineola, where that happened. And it certainly gave me a pause for concern. And I said, what are we doing about this? Well, as much as we can, we're reaching out and giving people advice on what to do should they encounter a coyote. But the best thing people could do is not to leave food lying around, and not to feed these animals, because that's why they come back, and they come into, people do, unfortunately. Or, well, even your compost heap, frankly, is an invitation.
Okay.
It is. Mm-hmm.
So walk away slowly. It's a skunk.
I had a skunk in my yard the other day.
Oh yeah, I have one that lives around here. So
I just backed up very slowly and went back in the house and closed the door.
So Toronto has had this issue about people living in parks. I've seen it in Toronto. I've seen it in Vancouver. Now, is this been an issue in Mississauga, and is there a policy behind this if it does happen?
It's the same policy. Parks are for public use. We don't allow people to camp or create encampments in parks. So I haven't seen that yet myself. So I don't think it exists, but it may. I am aware that people do sleep in vehicles in parking lots, including close to the waterfront. And, this is very heart-wrenching too. And usually officers will tap at the door and try to get them some shelter. But fortunately, we have not encountered the kind of removal from encampments as we saw in Toronto. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's a very low acceptance for anything like that, because the parks are for everyone to enjoy. You can't camp. camp out and decide you're going to live there. And it's unsanitary.
Yeah. Okay. Metrolinx has stepped up efforts to keep kids from jumping off the Port Credit Railway Bridge. You've heard about this, right? So, I mean, I guess what's the feedback on this? Or can we just, I think a solution would be just to get more things to do in Port Credit. Like a Ferris wheel, a water park. Just saying.
Sounds great. You're going to fund it? Yeah.
Maybe one day.
So honestly, yeah, please, this is very dangerous activity, and that water is very shallow and very rocky, and it's extremely dangerous. So we don't encourage anyone to do that, of course. Just a second. Whoops.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, the screen keeps going dark, and I'm not sure why, but okay.
Is everything okay?
Yep. Yeah, I'm just getting messaging.
Okay. I guess what can be done, I mean, I know that Metrolinx is saying don't do it, but kids are still doing it. Right? So, so I say big Ferris wheel would solve the kids jumping off the bridge.
Okay. A big Ferris wheel? Where will I put? Well, so we do have rides and amusements. Like we do have carnivals that do come into, and they usually set up in the parking lot, connected to the Waterfront Festival or Southside Shuffle or Busker Fest. I mean, we haven't done that this year because of COVID, let's be honest, but we do have those. Oh, I've just got a note about the body-worn cameras. All officers are now being trained and will wear body cameras. That's being rolled out over the summer. And it's expanding to all officers, just to put clarity on that.
Oh, expanding by the end of summer? Is that what you just said?
They're being trained over the summer, so I don't think it'll get implemented that quickly, but it will. And this is the test pilot was conducted at the airport.
Okay, awesome.
The division station there. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the last question I have, this is a good question. This is from one of our viewers. What is the biggest priority ahead of the next municipal elections? Well, it's a pretty broad question.
Well, I mean, the one that's plaguing me right now is, public transit hasn't come back. And, we run huge deficits operating twice as many buses for half as many people. So the revenue on the buses isn't the same. And just generally our operational deficit when cities aren't permitted to run deficits. And, we have to come to terms with that. And will we get more restart financing? And we have some very specific structural deficit issues that's specific to Mississauga that we're working on a solution with the provincial government for, and that they would be the structure of the airport payment in lieu of taxes. So there's that. So the big issues are the operational deficit, and then the build programs that we have. So we want to continue to build out the city, of course, public transit, affordable housing. Those things are always constantly priorities. One of mine is the public marina. We're hoping for funding for that from the provincial government. Please, everyone, ask the MPP in Southern area, Rudy Cazzetto, to support that. So I think that would be great for Mississauga to have a publicly operated marina, a larger one. Yes.
I was going to say, did you ever get that? I remember you mentioned before that the city of Mississauga used to get a per head cost for the flights coming in and the passengers. Did you guys ever get that resolved from?
It is not resolved yet. So, and we fully accept when their passenger counts decline, we won't see the revenue that we normally see. We accept that, and that's fine. But when they build back up, the problem is we're not permitted to increase our revenue stream more than 5% per year from them. So it puts a huge dent in our revenue stream, and that has to be corrected. So we're working on it. So that's one of my key priorities. So certainly, anything deficit related, I'm always on top of, and this is a big one. And then, it's building. It's like we've got, South Common Mall community center being rebuilt. We're just finishing up Churchill Meadows. And we've got to take a look at what we're going to do in Port Credit with the library, right? We know that there's some structural issues there, engineering issues that we have to cope with. And then, you know, it's the big issues like the developments that are occurring on the waterfront, which are fantastic, and in the downtown, the LRT being built. Will we have the road network? Will we have the transit we need? You know, these are all the big things, the housing that is affordable for everyone, and particularly the middle class in Mississauga. So it's the big issues, no one priority, but if I had to single out one, it would be, you know, eliminating our operational deficit going forward.
Awesome. Mayor Crombie, thank you so much. Are you
You
doing
didn't ask me about the library. I got all that info for you.
Oh, give me the, okay, sorry, it's 5 o'clock, please.
Quickly.
Sorry.
Construction began in April 2021, and it's slated to be completed by 2023. The project is a $42 million project. It's a renovation period, approximately 28,000 square foot of public space will be added within the existing building, along with plans for an additional 6,000 square feet of secondary space on the 4th floor, which will be overlooking Celebration Square. How nice will that be? And customers will be able to browse and borrow thousands of new books, DVDs, video games, and much more. The new facility will meet AODA requirements and provide barrier-free access. We'll have updating heating, ventilation, air conditioning systems, and provide enhanced airflow and comfort, upgraded washrooms, and connect-free fixtures, upgraded technology throughout the building, and offer more self-service options along with greater access to the digital collections in the library.
Nice, and that's a Mississauga Central sorry, the new name. The new name is the Hazel McCallion?
Hazel McCallion Central Library, that's right.
Cool. Well, Mayor Crombie, are you doing the F45 tonight?
I did it this morning at 7:30.
Okay, awesome.
I tend to do them more in the mornings, gets me going and pumped up.
Yeah, awesome. Look at that. Oh my goodness. You're like cut. Okay. Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that. She's cut. I like that.
See you later.